Good evening.
Mm.
Every time you time it to be gulping.
No, I always do. I don't. Well,
is that a koozie though?
it is a koozie, but it's got fizzy pop in because I've kind of decided I'm now at the stage where like alcohol too often is not great. Like was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday I went to the shop to get some beers before the Spurs game, and I bought 4 tins. And after I had 2 of them, I'm like, nah, I don't really want any more. And then today, so I still had 2 tins in the fridge. When I went to the shop earlier, I bought 4 more, and I had 1, and I tipped half of it away because I'm just done with it. I'm like, I don't know who I am.
Acting like a 36-year-old right now.
Massively, like I genuinely am done. And like I had quite a bit of a sesh on Thursday, but nothing too major. But it's like just getting old. It's the whole sort of idea of I'm looking at my like watch before it was like 20 to 7. It's like surely this is an acceptable time to go to bed in your mid-30s now.
On a Sunday night with the bank holiday next weekend.
Yeah, well, to be fair, I'm already planning about my ways of finishing at lunchtime on Thursday and taking Friday off, probably with the intention to get back on it. It's like, the body's a temple, so it needs its kind of, reflection period.
It's had a weekend to rest.
Pretty much has. Let's say I went out on Thursday. I went to a really cool gig actually. So I went up to the Green Note up in Camden, which is a venue I don't know whether I hate to love or I love to hate is the way to describe it. I really want to like it and it has a lot of great things about it, but equally it has kind of other things as a venue that just irritate me a little bit. I hate the layout, which I know a lot of people that have been there won't like. I wish they had some meat, because it's all like a vegan cafe with all the food they do. And when you're kind of in there, the bar's at the far end, so you sort of come in and then you go past the stage and the bar's at the back. So to go like to the toilet or whatever else, or kind of moving around, you have to go past the stage, and it's kind of just a little bit awkward. But the sound in there is incredible, the light in there is incredible. It's just a great venue. It's like the staff there are brilliant, kind of all that. But it's just like the layout's just one of those. It kind of irritates me a little bit. But that being said, great gig. Caught up with the guys from Backwards Creek, who were opening up for Drew Dixon, who's currently on tour here in the UK at the minute. And he's really, really cool. I didn't know a huge amount about him. And I think we were sort of saying this before, just kind of the name it sort of come about. But he's a very, very tall man. He looks like Jason Momoa. So if you've seen Aquaman, that's the image of what you're sort of seeing. So kind of like...
a bit jealous of his hair.
Well, he basically, so it's either Aquaman, or if you're into your WWE wrestling, looks a little bit like Roman Reigns, would kind of sort of be the other way to like picture what he looks like. But vocally, he's incredible. And it's like, he kind of sounds a bit like John Mayer. He's kind of a little bit kind of that sort of style of thing. And it was a really, really cool night on Thursday. And glad went along. And I still think he's doing quite a few more shows and stuff. Cause I know he's up in like Blackpool and Preston, kind of around that sort of area. So if you kind of listen to things, and it's like, it might be worth checking out, or at least checking out his music on Spotify. So his name's Drew Dixon.
And the other thing we need to catch up for this week is, how is your Starbucks Snicker thingy majig? How many you get this week?
It was really good. I had Starbucks yesterday. In fact, I had Starbucks on Thursday as well, because I did an interview on Zoom on Thursday afternoon that will come out in the next couple of days, where we talked a lot about coffee, very, very heavily about coffee, which was massively on brand for this person. This is a good way to sort of lead in, actually, as a kind of thing. I suppose it works rather nicely. So what I'm talking about, I caught up with Abbey Cone, who is, one of my favorite new artists kind of around. And she's just so much fun. She's so super cool. And she brought out her debut EP through Valerie, which is one of the labels under the Big Machine kind of banner. So her debut EP, 6 tracks, produced by Nathan Spicer. It's called Hate Me. Came out on Friday. It's absolutely amazing. It's all kind of middle up tempo tracks. It's a massively strong introduction to who she is and kind of what she wants to say and kind of a lot of things. And this will sort of come out in the interview. It's like this was all something that she wrote way before the pandemic, when she was kind of looking to kind of be getting her deal and things, and the way that these songs still stand through, and like she's written like an absolute shit ton sort of since then and things, and it's still kind of, although she sort of admits she's kind of changed a bit as a person, the songs still fit her and what she is. And if you haven't checked her out, like, you know, Rhinestone Ring, Hate Me, and King of the World were the 3 tracks she kind of put out before. Then there's 3 further tracks on the record: In a Room with You, The One, and I can't remember what the other one's called off the top of my head. But it's all a really, really cool like project. And yeah, there's a lot of different sounds, and she's definitely going to be someone that I think she wants to come over here. She's desperate to come over here, and people are going to fall in love with. So fingers crossed it's not too far off.
So we're at episode 10. We haven't said who our.
I was going to say we haven't done numbers. Yeah, we kind of straight in.
So we do our sporting weekend then. We get our sports roundup.
Oh, would you like to? What did you do this weekend in regards?
What have I done this weekend? So yesterday it was a double sports header yesterday, as my daughter was a mascot at the Woking game. So I headed down to Woking for the first half of their game against Wrexham. I didn't meet Ryan Reynolds though.
Was he there?
No, he wasn't there.
Oh.
We had to meet, like, all the mascots had to meet with their parents, like, by the entrance. I was like, right, I'm watching out. Here we go. He's got to be here somewhere. I can meet Van Wilder. That's it. But no, didn't happen.
I like that you sort of went with like Van Wilder rather than like Deadpool as the kind of like the target reference to.
Mine is Van Wilder for Ryan Reynolds. That or Two Guys and a Girl. That was the other one. But none of the other parents had watched that. I was like, oh, am I the youngest parent here? Showing my age.
Van Wilder's an amazing film though. Like, it's, you know, you sort of forget, because I always sort of remember it more because it's like Tara Reid, isn't it? It's kind of like the other person in it. But yeah,
I have to go back and watch that now. Yeah. And then from there, I headed round left there at half time to head round to Wembley for Tyson Fury fight, which won't go down as an epic fight, but the knockout was, even though I was in the upper tier, you could see the knockout punch. It was epic, that punch. The atmosphere was just buzzing so we got in there probably about 9, 9:15 or so, and it was just electric. It was totally pointless having a seat, so I don't think I used it once. And surprisingly, I didn't see any fights. I think that was in the crowd. I thought we were kind of just expecting there to be fights everywhere.
I was going to say, considering you've got 95,000 people that are turning up for boxing, you'd think chances are that some people have probably been on the lash since about 8 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, definitely. So yeah, but whether or not he'll retire, I do not know. But I also used an Amazon Fresh for the first time. It felt very weird.
What is an Amazon Fresh?
So Amazon Fresh, you use your mobile phone, you basically scan in on the Amazon app as you go in, and you just pick up food and you walk out.
Okay.
It felt very strange just walking out of a shop with food in hand. And
is that like the whole sort? Is that like that's like you basically just kind of you sort of scan whatever?
No, you don't even scan anything. You just pick it up.
Oh, really?
You generally just go in, pick stuff up, and walk out.
Mate, that's really going to take off in Croydon. I can imagine that massively here where I am.
Come on, I'm from leafy Surrey. We don't do that. I'm like, oh, this is a bit strange.
Wow.
But I must think, I think that's got to be one of the funnest jobs to do, just seeing people's reaction as they go around the shop trying to be like, can I do this? Is this allowed? Do I just walk out now? What do I do? So yeah, you don't scan anything. You just scan in. That's it.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
And then about an hour later, you get an email from Amazon and they bill you for everything.
Well, how do they like know they haven't like fucked it up?
I don't know. This is the bit me and my mate were talking about. We're like, are there cameras watching what you pick up, or are they watching as you're walking out? Or is there some kind of sensor that scans everything without you knowing it? I don't know.
I find it weird. You know, like when you go to Decathlon, like as well, you don't properly scan stuff in there. You just put it into like the basket. That's weird enough. But literally to not have to do anything, to literally just go in, grab your stuff and then go out.
Yeah, you just walked out.
Wow. So, game changer.
Yeah, I was like, very, very interesting. But that does bring us to our number 10s anyway.
Yeah, well, I was kind of through the depths of Spurs number 10s. There's obviously a lot, so it's like Kane at the minute, Teddy Sheringham. Robbie Keane, I guess, would be mine at Spurs. Yeah. We could have done with like Keane and Sheringham, to be honest, at Brentford on Saturday, because Kane got nowhere near the ball at all. We were awful, which was essentially my sporting weekend. But yeah, Robbie Keane, my number 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going for Steve Nash. I thought I'd change up for a different sport now.
I don't know who that is, but okay.
Don't know who Steve Nash is?
No, I probably should do.
He was part of the Chicago Bulls.
Oh, right.
No, he was to be fair, Bulls. He finished with Lakers.
I've been starting to pay attention to basketball.
Dallas Mavericks, that's who he was. He wasn't Chicago Bulls. He was Dallas Mavericks.
Well, that makes it even worse because, like, after kind of my first chat with Abbey, when she'd sort of said, it's like, how are you a Cowboys and a Rangers fan, but you don't have a basketball team? Surely you should be a Mavs fan. So it's like kind of half paying attention to the Mavs, and like they lost last night, so they're 2-2.
They're in the playoffs though, aren't they? I think it's playoff time anyway.
They've had their best player injured, and he got eased back in last night. So Luke will be back, and they'll be fine. That's the extent of my basketball punditry that I can offer. That the Mavs are tied 2 games all with the Utah Jazz.
I'm very impressed.
Yeah. Can't offer anything else, but
that's some good knowledge right there.
Well, to be fair, there's loads of videos like on Twitter and stuff of basketball at the minute, because they've now sort of realised that by the fact that there's no barrier between the seats and the court, that some people are a bit stupid and just run on. And you see these videos of how quick the security are to rugby tackle the people.
Well, they need something because LeBron James isn't in the playoffs. They need something to talk about.
Yeah. But yeah.
It is the other one, basketball-wise, is there is a good show on Sky at the minute, Winning Time or something. It's called about the early LA Lakers. Very good.
Is that the John C. Reilly?
Yeah.
Yeah. I keep
seeing if you don't like basketball, it's really good. But should we talk country music?
Yeah, we can do a little bit. I was going to say, I had another random basketball type topic. Because we put a piece out with Waylon Hannell kind of earlier in the week, and he's from just outside Flint in Michigan, which is obviously
I know where this is going.
Of the Flint Tropics, which is the fictional team in Will Ferrell's absolute. I
don't think I realised that was a real place.
Yeah, so Flint is a genuine place that is not tropical, and it's basically Will Ferrell did his like set of doing all sports films. So he did like Blades of Glory, which is about kind of ice skating. He did Talladega Nights, which was like the NASCAR kind of car racing one, and did one called Semi Pro, which has Andre 3000 from Outkast and Woody Harrelson in it as well. And so Will Ferrell plays Jackie Moon, who's a washed up singer that had this really awful song. It's either Kiss Me Sexy or Lick Me Sexy or something ridiculous his song's called. But anyway, so he's like the owner and like the star player of this team, and he's trying to get people in. So one day he builds like a cage inside the basketball arena and he wrestles a bear, and then they trade their washing machine for Woody Harrelson. And it's like, even by Will Ferrell standards, it's like the most random thing ever. But if you haven't seen it, definitely check out Semi Pro.
I did not know that was a real place.
No, genuinely, I was shocked as well. It's only when I Google mapped it, it's like, Flynn, that's where that is. It's genuinely real.
So if you were following us on Instagram, obviously our New Music Friday post got delayed because I found out Tim Hortons is opening in London. That was more important to me on Friday.
It's just about in London, isn't it? So Park Royal. So it's kind
of outside of London. So I'm classing it, and I haven't got to pay to get over the Dartford Bridge. So
yeah, because it's like the nearest. Where's the nearest one to us?
So there's one at Dartford at Blue Water Lakeside, whichever one's the other side of the tunnel. There's one there. Other than that, it's like Milton Keynes. So if you don't know, Tim Hortons is basically a Canadian donut shop. I guess it's like the Canadian version of Dunkin' Donuts and Starbucks kind of thing. So yeah, it is just donuts, and they do obviously in Canada it's huge, and they're on every street corner. It's the Canadian version of Starbucks. And they do something called Timbits, which is basically tiny. It's the donut holes, and that's like their main thing. So that and the coffees.
But yeah, I was kind of more distracted with my Friday of what I was looking into was because, like when you end up like scrolling through those random like reels type videos on Facebook and kind of you get all the clickbait articles and things. I've become a real, like, I tell you what, I dread to think like the amount of viruses and how all my data has been stolen, the amount of random shit I've kind of looked at over like the last week. But I came across saying that somewhere up in Newcastle, right, there's a 32-inch pizza, right? So I spent about 45 minutes Googling where the largest pizza you could get in London was and how big it was. And then I'd seen that somewhere, it's now been closed down, I think, but it was somewhere in Brixton that did a 40-inch pizza. And it's like, oh my God, that's like a one-way ticket to like the morgue. Like the amount of calories.
That's something you'd expect in Vegas, I think.
It's ridiculous. But yeah, I got fascinated by like, what's the biggest pizza you could get? And then spent 20 quid at Papa John's, as you do.
That's just asking for trouble.
Anyway, so outside of pizza, random basketball stories and Tim Hortons.
So in the post, I'm going to say, if you want the country music stuff, fast forward to 17 minutes and 30 seconds.
17 minutes, 20 seconds.
And then you get some country music talk.
To be fair, we did start off talking about Abbey's album and EP, and the sixth track that I forgot to mention is called Thought About You, which is actually a really cool one. In a Room With You is my favourite, but all the songs in there are great. But anyway, other music, go.
Okay, so following on, obviously, last week we found out that Luke Combs was going to be releasing a new album. We now know the name of it. It is Growing Up. There's going to be 12 tracks. The current single, Doing This, which is all over the radio over here as well, is going to be on it. And he released a song called Tomorrow Me on Friday, which will also be on it, which was written by him, Dean Dillon, and Ray Fulcher. So that one is out now. We're in the process of trying to arrange a quick chat with Brett Kissel before he heads over to Italy in June. And he's released a track with a 90s boy band this week. And it features Nick Lachey. Do you remember that name?
It's not one that rings a bell.
I think he was married to Jessica Simpson.
Oh, Nick Lachey. Oh, yeah, he was, yeah.
Yeah. So his boy band from the 90s is called 98 Degrees, and they've obviously done as most boy bands have. They've reformed, and now they've teamed up with Brett Kissel for a song called Ain't the Same. So I can't wait to have a chat with him about this one because I can't see him being in a boy band.
Yeah, you are correct. 98 Degrees, and was married to Jessica Simpson.
What you see, there you go. That's my Nick Lachey knowledge. So I was looking into the band. I was like, I've not heard of them. And basically, over here they did nothing. But yeah, stateside, late 90s, it does seem like they did have a few kind of top 40.
I'm trying to see that as you keep going, I'm going to see.
Okay, we'll get back. Jamie will fill us in on 98 Degree News shortly then. So yeah, I did have a look. I didn't recognise anything. But yeah, I got straight on to sort of the contacts I've got for Brett Kissel to see if we can arrange something because yeah, I want to hear more about this track, how on earth it came round, because I can't picture him with a boy band, but it is a good track, and yeah, I can't wait to hear more of it. And again, he's obviously over in Europe in June, definitely in Italy in Voghera, which is near Milan. So if you wanted a weekend away, it is. I was looking at flights the other week. a return flight to Milan that weekend to leave on the Friday, come back Sunday. The gig's on the Saturday night. There's a whole host of country music acts playing. It's like £37 return or something to get to Milan that weekend. So definitely kind of, if you just wanted a weekend in Milan, see some country music, can highly recommend. We are on episode 10. Jason Aldean has released his 10th studio album in its entirety now. So
that's a great link, by the way.
Thank you. I'm here all week. So that is out now in its entirety. So he had started to release part of it, and yet now it's fully out. What else have we got? I'm going through my list. Brett Eldredge. We haven't done that one yet. He has released new music ahead of his UK tour, which is obviously coming up in like less than 10 days' time now.
Yeah, it's really close.
Yeah, it must be the end of next week, I think. No, Monday week. Monday the 2nd. What's that? Bank Holiday Monday it must start on. So, and he's also announced his 7th studio album, Songs About You, which is the same title of the track he released this week, will be out on June 17th. So if you haven't got tickets yet for his tour, they're on sale now, Live Nation, usual places. He's playing from Monday the 2nd to Tuesday the 10th of May with dates in Glasgow, Leeds, Birmingham, Manchester and London. We will be there in London. So we'll be filling you in on everything of that tour. Obviously, we have already spoken to him. That is online and everything now. And then the only other bit of tour news this week is Charlie Crockett is coming at the very end of October into the start of November with dates in Dublin, Glasgow, Manchester and London before he heads to definitely Germany for, I want to say, Cologne and Berlin and a festival somewhere in Holland. Go on, what 98 Degree pointless fact have you?
Well, actually, 98 Degrees had a UK top 10 single in the year 2000. And it's actually, I genuinely was like, when I sort of thought, it's like, I swear they did a song with Mariah, and they did a song called Thank God I Found You, which was a #1 in the States in the year 2000 with Mariah Carey and Joe. And Brendan will be very disappointed that we didn't automatically know straight away the random Mariah Carey knowledge in regard to that.
That's very disappointing.
Yeah,
that's very Radio 1-esque introduction. I'm quite impressed with that.
But yeah, so that's what you need to know about 98 Degrees. And hopefully Brett will be able to fill us in a little bit more on how good his 98 Degrees knowledge is. So yeah, the kind of other sort of news about, it's not really tour news, but it's in regards to things coming up. So Millport released their day splits of who's playing when, where, who, what, when, how across the weekend. So I think they've got Candy Carpenter headlining on a Friday, Drake White, Sonny Sweeney, Ruthie Collins, Alyssa Bonagura, Arbor North, Morgan Way, Jade Halliwell, Honky Tonk Roadshow, loads of wonderful people kind of across there. So kind of on Millport, Gavin and Christine have got all the kind of information up on their website.
It's quite early, isn't it? Some of the Saturday, the main sort of headline acts on a Saturday are quite early because it's all finished by kind of 7:30, but then there is evening shows for those counties, isn't it?
Yeah. And then the other festival news as well, Georgie has made another edition for Tennessee Fields where they have Juna and Joey, who are going to be joining that festival, playing on the like the 10th stage, the acoustic second stage there. If anyone saw Twinny on her tour last year, they were opening up for Twinny on those dates. So I remember seeing them because Alyssa was also opening for Twinny at the London show at Amira, which also leads nicely on because Alyssa Bonagura has got a brand new single that came out on Friday as well. The wonderful Other Side of the World came out Friday. It's so cool. It's a song that if you saw her over, you probably heard her play, and you know it's just really great. And like we say, she's going to be back over here this summer, and we cannot wait to see her. And yeah, the only other new music sort of stuff I've got, Tennille Towns obviously brought out her new EP, which I think we'd sort of mentioned a couple of weeks back. So it's called Masquerades. That came out on Friday. Everyone seems to be loving it. It's really, really cool. It's really, really nice. It's, you know, it sounds like Tennille, like in terms of songwriting, in terms of, you know, sounds and what's coming on there. So it's always a win for my eyes. So if you haven't heard that, it's definitely worth checking out, and it's just a really nice project to listen to. And then obviously, like with everyone that's kind of doing EPs generally at this sort of time, it possibly means we might get something led a bit further later in the year. And the other album that came out this week is Rumour, with her second installment of B-Sides and Rarities, Volume 2, which is really, really cool. We put a review out on the site. We spoke to Sarah a couple of weeks back. She's going to be playing The Long Road as well. It's a really sort of cool idea where she's basically songs that she recorded while she was working on previous projects. She sort of brought them from the vault, put them all together, and it just sort of flows really nicely. There's a really, some really cool covers and things on there. There's a version of How Deep Is Your Love by the Bee Gees, it's really chilling the way she's done it, and it's just so different and cool as an arrangement. And also Elton John, Mona Lisa's and Mad Hatters, a great version of that on there too. So yeah, definitely looking forward to seeing her at the Long Road and possibly on her tour, because she's got some tour dates coming up as well. So they're kind of all the links are on the kind of article we put out earlier this week, and that's that.
So all the new music is on our Spotify playlist. I think I'm just having a look. There's 23 songs on there. Obviously, all the ones we've mentioned. There's also songs from Carrie Underwood, Midland, Travis Denning, Brian Kelly, Chris Jansen, High Valley, Twinny, Joshua Headley, Smithfield, Kenny Foster, Stevie O'Connor, Thomas Kavanagh, and plenty more.
The Stevie O'Connor track, just to kind of put that, for people that kind of don't know, Stevie O'Connor is the best male British artist by a long way, and deserves a lot more credit and recognition than he sort of gets. The people that know and see things 100% agree with it. He's so good live. He's a great entertainer. This track, if you haven't heard it, Waiting on Willie, it's kind of a Willie Nelson sort of tribute song. It's just absolute genius and definitely worth checking out. And so big fan of Stevie, great guy, even better performer. And yeah, it's great to see there's, plenty of, quality UK things coming through. You mentioned like Twinny had a track out. Danny Nichols had a track out this week as well. And, loads and loads of stuff coming. And it's kind of getting nicely into the sort of festival sort of stage, really.
And we're getting closer to May, which is obviously our mass gig one. And we've got, loads of gigs that we'll be headed to. So you'll be seeing us around, out and about. Jamie's disappeared on his camera.
What I did earlier, when I was cutting my nails and I managed to cut a little bit too much off, and I dropped.
Thanks for that. What a lovely way to end.
Yeah, great way to end. Well, I don't think there's anything much more exciting to kind of share. Really, if you really want to know about the escapades, I've been looking at oversized pizza and talking about cutting myself. That's really not a good word in any way, shape or form. Not cutting myself, accidentally cutting myself with nail clippers, which shows that at 36 why I should not be trusted to kind of do adult things and generally should be kept away from sharp objects and alcohol, as I also pointed out before, and definitely the two of them at the same time. And on that note,
are we there for the week?
See you next week.
Thank you very much, everybody. We'll talk to you next week. Plenty more, I'm sure, will happen between now and then. Thank you and good night.